I am Amoka Mom, and I am back with a video for Afro Queen 8807. I have done a video in the past talking about preparing for postpartum and what it's like to have a newborn baby. But this video I wanted to concentrate more on what's going on in your body, because I know for me the knowledge of what's going on in my body and how that interfaces with the relational things that are going on gives me the right perspective to realize that when that settles down, it will have the effect of smoothing everything out. When I was in college, I was a psychology major, and I had the opportunity to study sleep and work in a sleep lab. I learned that the brain cycles through various stages as we sleep, and that it's important for us to go through all the stages, and it's important for us to go through the stages in a specific order. If our sleep is interrupted, I learned that the process starts all over again, and if we don't give our body enough time to go through all the stages, we can wake up without being fully rested. In order to understand what's going on after you have a baby, not only is your sleep broken up like that because you're waking up to nurse the baby, when after you first have the baby, water is getting flushed out of your system. So you may be waking up because you've had sweats and you're clammy and uncomfortable, or because you have to go to the bathroom to get that water out of your system and the baby wants to nurse, or if you're not nursing, you need to bottle feed the baby because their stomachs are so tiny they can only wait so long between meals. But sleep deprivation also has some symptoms that come along with it. Short-temperedness, irritability, anxiety, shakiness, slow memory. I know for me, things like trying to work out a math problem is difficult for me when I haven't had enough sleep. Even my vision is affected. I'm not able to see really small things. And in severe cases of day after day after day of not having sleep, can put you at a state of being so much on edge that it can be quite serious and impair your mental functioning very severely. Your hormones in your body are making this major shift as you move from being pregnant to not being pregnant, and to facilitate you being able to, say for example, nurse your baby, or if you're not nursing, for your milk to dry up. There's all these hormonal shifts that are happening, and we know that hormones can affect mood. And if you had a cesarean section, that is major surgery, and your body is healing and recovering from that. So you've got all this physiological stuff going on, and then you have emotional stuff going on. Even though you've been preparing for this baby all of this time, it's a reality, and the reality sometimes is very different from the dream. Maybe the baby doesn't act the way you thought the baby would act. Maybe you're doing everything you know how to do, and the baby may not be responding to you quite the way you thought the baby would respond to you. Maybe this is your first child and you didn't really understand what it would feel like to have somebody making those kind of demands on you around the clock. Maybe you're not a night person and you're ordinarily crabby when you're up in the middle of the night, but now you have to find that patience. Maybe you have more than one child, and after you've been up all night with the baby, 6 o'clock rolls around and your toddler or your 3, 4, 5-year-old wants to know what's for breakfast, what do I wear? Maybe they want to climb into bed with you. Maybe they're feeling a little bit jealous about the attention that you're giving to this newborn. Add to that your husband, who maybe might be feeling all the pressures of being a new father. Maybe he might feel inadequate to the task of handling the baby, a little awkward, a little fearful. Maybe he might be concerned that he's going to hurt the baby in handling the baby. And all of these feelings and thoughts and changes are happening. And in the midst of all of that, you're so tired that maybe the household chores are not being managed the way they ought to be managed. The dishes are overflowing, laundry is piling up, and neither your husband nor you are up to the task of keeping those things going. If you're a neat freak like me, being in a mess raises your anxiety level. So if you put all these different circumstances together, it makes all the sense in the world that as a couple, rather than communicate what you're both feeling, and sometimes you may not be able to articulate exactly what you're feeling because the emotions are coming from every direction, and so you start picking at each other about this thing and that thing. If you consider what's really going on, it's clear that the root of the problem isn't you or your mate. It's just adapting to all the changes that are going on. Now, I wish that during prenatal preparation, more time was given to discussing all of these changes, because before you're thrust in the middle of all of this is the time to make a plan for what you're going to do to cope with as many of these things as you can possibly cope with. Certain things you'll never be able to prepare for, but you know you'll have to eat, so you can make a plan for food. You know that the laundry and the household chores need to be taken care of. Maybe you can call on friends or family or hire a professional to come in and help you manage that. You know that even with all the help in the world, if you're living in a house, whatever is done will be undone. So to a certain extent, you may have to prepare yourself to let go and release, and maybe for a short amount of time, things are not going to run the way they ran before. In fact, I'm letting go of what it was like before. We now have a new member of our family. We are going to create a new normal. And all of these things will pass because the baby will grow, the baby will sleep longer, and pretty soon I'll be sleeping all night and able to function at a more optimal level. Time is our best friend. Within 4 months, when everything settles down and everything starts to heal up for the most part, I discover, oh, you're still the same husband that I was so happy to be with before all of this started, or the reason why we got into this mess in the first place, or this blessing, not this mess. So be encouraged. This too shall pass. Be blessed.